Okay, all right. So, welcome all in our weekly webinar, Market Masterclass with Religare. In this webinar, for those who are joining us for the first time, I'll briefly introduce how it progresses. So, basically, we talk about the market performance during the week in the first slide, followed by our view in the subsequent slide, and on key indices, stocks, sectors. We end the session with a quick feedback poll and then anything related to the presentation, any particular sector that you wish to know more about, any particular theme that you would like to explore. During the Q&A session, you can ask these questions. There's a Q&A button in front of your screen, which you can use that. तो आप सभी का स्वागत है हमारे वीकली वेबिनार में और इस वेबिनार में हम बात करते हैं मार्केट्स की परफॉर्मेंस कैसी रही इस हफ्ते, नेक्स्ट वीक के लिए क्या इंपॉर्टेंट है, निफ्टी और बैंकिंग इंडेक्स में कौन से सेक्टर्स, कौन से स्टॉक्स आपके रडार पे होने चाहिए, ये सब कुछ कवर करेंगे नेक्स्ट 15 से 20 मिनट में. उसके बाद एक फीडबैक पोल और फिर क्वेश्चंस आपके जो भी होंगे, सेक्टर स्पेसिफिक क्वेश्चंस ज़्यादा हम प्रेफर करते हैं कंसिडरिंग कि कम टाइम में मैक्सिमम लोगों का बेनिफिट हो पाए. मीन्स अगर आपको पता लग गया कि इस सेक्टर को अवॉइड करना है या इस सेक्टर को प्रेफर करना है तो ऑटोमेटिकली ये आपके लिए इजी हो जाता है प्रिपेयर करना नेक्स्ट वीक ट्रेडिंग के लिए. So with this, let's get started with the disclaimer that it's an educational webinar. It's not trading or investment recommendation. So before making any decision based on the information shared, please check with your financial advisor. तो जो भी हम बात करने वाले हैं वो कोई ट्रेडिंग और इन्वेस्टमेंट रिकमेंडेशन नहीं है. तो जो भी आप डिसाइड करें बेसिस दिस इंफॉर्मेशन, प्लीज अपने फाइनेंशियल एडवाइजर से जरूर बात करें. So this is the snapshot of a very volatile week. We all know that, but eventually we have ended with marginal cuts, less than 0.5% for both Nifty and Sensex. On sectoral front, FMCG, media, energy, auto. On the positive side, then we have realty, metals, IT, banking, financials, wherein we saw some profit taking. Among the top 5 gainers, for the obvious reason, means FMCG among the top gainer from the sectoral front. So HUL and Nestle among the top gainers, top 5 gainers in the Nifty 50 basket. Then we have Titan, Geofinance, and Power Grid also, which did well. At the same time, Trent, Tata Steel, LT, Tata Motors, and Techem. So 3 stocks from Tata Universe, Trent, Tata Steel, Tata Motors among the top losers. Then we have other 2 names as well. तो देखिए ये हफ्ता हम सबको पता है कितना ज़्यादा वॉलेटाइल रहा है मार्केट के लिए, बट बावजूद इसके इस वॉलेटिलिटी के हम ऑलमोस्ट फ्लैट बंद हुए, मार्जिनली कट करीब 0.5% के कट. तो एक बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग रिकवरी या फिर क्लोज हम मानेंगे इसको. जिस तरीके से चीज़ें प्लान आउट हुई ग्लोबली, टैरिफ, यूएस टैरिफ जिसने कि सारी वर्ल्ड मार्केट्स को परेशान किया इंक्लूडिंग इंडिया, बट इवेंचुअली हम ठीक ठाक बंद हुए. सेक्टोरल फ्रंट पे भी जैसे देख पा रहे हैं कि मिक्स रहा, जहाँ पे कि एफएमसीजी जो कि काफी टाइम साइडलाइंस पे था वहां पे रिकवरी देखने को मिली. वहीं पे जो बैंकिंग फाइनेंशियल मार्जिनली कट के साथ जरूर बंद हुए हैं, बट यहाँ पे भी आपने काफी हद तक स्ट्रेंथ देखी. उसके अलावा डेफिनेटली थोड़ा बहुत प्रेशर दूसरे सेक्टर्स में आपने नजर आया. तो दिस इज द performance of the week. Now let's approach the markets, the key indices. So this was the close and that was the open day. Means on the first day of the week, we breached March month low. If you remember, we were discussing about 22,000 being the key support area. But in the early trade, we breached that mark, we breached the previous swing low. But by the end, we could manage to hold it. And as the week progressed, we could see gradual recovery with a day of pause in between. Where are we now? We are at this yellow line, which is the 20 days of exponential moving average. which was earlier acting as a support, is now acting as a resistance. 22,900 level. Once we break this mark, then the long-term averages at 23,400 is going to be the first key hurdle for the index, and then eventually this 23,800 mark. Downside, this marginal low will be the first area of support, 22,300. If we break, then this recent swing low around 21,700 will be the key support. You might be wondering that why this 1,000-point kind of a range for a week. So this is the present scenario. Those who track volatility index, those who understand its importance, it surged 66% on the first day of the trade itself with this decline and tested 23 mark. In the last 3 trading sessions, we have seen a cool off, but still at the elevated level around 17.518. So until we see further cool off in the volatility index below, let's say 16-15 area, around that area, until then there could be a chances of further volatile swings in the market. So this 1,000-point range, roughly around 21,700, 22,800, 23,800, rather 2,000 points, sorry. It's something which looks normal to us. So as of now, there's no point speculating just basis some random guess that tomorrow is going to be a up day or down day. 22,900 for this entire week is going to be critical. If we manage to hold this level, then gradually we can see further recovery. And in that case, we might see further cool off in the volatility and we might form some range also in the index. So it would be easier for us to trade. In case if we fail to hold 22,900, then probably again there could be a dip towards 22,300 and this volatility might continue. So as of now, in index at least, one should not go ahead with naked position, prefer option strategies for short-term trades, because not only the global news, but the beginning of the earnings season, we expect the choppiness to remain high, right? So if we are above 22,900, look for positive side bias position. If we are below 22,900, look for shorting positions. तो देखिए ये है आपका डेली ग्राफ निफ्टी का और लास्ट वीक हम यहाँ पे थे, उसके बाद वो टैरिफ वाली न्यूज आई, हमने गैप डाउन स्टार्ट किया, जो मार्च का लो था उसके नीचे ओपन हुए फाइनली, बट जब क्लोज आया तो आप डिफेंड कर पाए उन लेवल्स को और फिर 3 सेशन में आपने दोबारा से उस गैप को फिल कर दिया जहां से आप गिरे थे। तो ये एक अच्छी चीज रही मार्केट में। अब क्या है, अब 22,900 मेक और ब्रेक एरिया बन गया है ये येलो लाइन। अगर आप इसके ऊपर हैं तो रिकवरी एक्सटेंड होगी 23,400 23,800, इसके नीचे हैं तो फिर रिस्क रहेगा दोबारा से 22,300 का 21,700 का। तो आपको 22,900 को ध्यान रखना है फॉर द नेक्स्ट वीक इंडेक्स में। इसके ऊपर हैं तो पॉजिटिव साइड के लिए पोजीशन देखें, बट उसको भी थ्रू ऑप्शन स्ट्रेटजीज में। नेकेड पे देखिए यहाँ पे ट्रेड करना इज सुसाइडल, बिकॉज गैप अप गैप डाउन बहुत ज्यादा हो रहा है। यूएस मार्केट में हम सबको पता है किस तरीके के मूव्स आ रहे हैं, राइट? तो इट्स बिकम इम्पॉसिबल टू मेंटेन एनी स्टॉप लॉसेज। तो अगर आप ऑप्शन स्ट्रेटजीज के थ्रू जाएंगे, इट बिकम्स easy, or you know your maximum losses. That is the only way to trade index as of now. दूसरा साथ साथ में वोलेटिलिटी इंडेक्स इंडिया विक्स, उस पर भी ध्यान रखिए। बहुत शार्प राइज के बाद थोड़ा बहुत कूल ऑफ हो रहा है वहां पे, उसका कूल ऑफ होना, फर्दर कूल ऑफ होना बहुत जरूरी है। और निफ्टी के लिए 22,900 के ऊपर जाना और 23,400 23,800 के लिए जाना, उसका कूल ऑफ बहुत जरूरी है। बट एज ऑफ नाउ 22,900 आपका की पॉइंट है, इसके ऊपर ठीक, मार्केट स्टेबल, रिकवरी एक्सटेंड, इसके नीचे दोबारा से रिस्क रहेगा. नाउ कम्स द important sector, and last week it showed outperformance. This week it was also volatile, obviously for the reason wherein all the sectors were under tremendous pressure. Banking index, so if you remember, we were talking about 50,000 being the key area, support area for banking index last week. We opened below that level, of course, with sharp cut in the index, and then we closed below that mark also. But the very next day, we reclaimed that mark, and then we are gradually inching higher. Private banking majors, ICICI, SDFC, Kotak, they are among the top performing name within the sectors, and the reason why we are seeing this recovery in the index as well. So next week also, though we reached this level of 50,000 decisively last week for a day, but it was an eventful day, means it was a different day. Normally breaking long-term averages without any pause is difficult. So like in this instance also, last week, there was a marginal dip below that mark, but eventually we could manage to hold this area. So next week also 50,000 is going to be the first line of defense. Until we break 50,000, one should continue with the positive bias in banking. And the preference should be the top private banking names, not the other ones, because it's not only the volatility, but the beginning of the earnings season also. So we expect the outperformers so far, they may continue to outperform in the coming days and weeks as well, right? Below 50,000, obviously you should turn cautious, because in that case 48,800, just slightly below this, maybe closer to this area is something, is where we have the next major support. So here 50,000 is the key make or break area. तो देखिए निफ्टी में हमने बात की 22,900 की, यहाँ पे क्या लेवल है, वो ये पूरे वीक में जो ध्यान रखने वाला है वो 50,000 का. इस वीक में हमने शुरुआत जो की थी तो 50,000 के नीचे जरूर फिसले थे, बट नेक्स्ट डे ही हमने उसको रिक्लेम कर लिया. लॉन्ग टर्म एवरेजेस जहाँ पे आपकी प्लेस्ड है, लॉन्ग टर्म मिड टर्म, जब तक इसको होल्ड कर रहे हैं तब तक पॉसिबिलिटी रहेगी कि मार्केट में स्ट्रेंथ बनी रहे, थोड़ा कंसोलिडेशन बीच बीच में आ सकता है, बट ओवरऑल सेक्टर में आउट परफॉर्मेंस कंटिन्यू रह सकती है. ऊपर में 52,000 53,500 तक के लेवल्स आने वाले टाइम में देखने को मिल सकते हैं. तो बैंकिंग में 50,000, प्राइवेट बैंकिंग मेजर्स प्रेफरेंस, और यहाँ पे भी सेक्टर में भी अगर मैं से बात करूं तो यहाँ पे भी एग्रेसिव नेकेड लॉन्ग नहीं, फ्यूचर्स में या फिर उसमें, यहाँ पे भी थ्रू ऑप्शन स्ट्रेटजीज आप ट्रेड करें. ऊपर पे 52,000 और 53,500 तक के लेवल्स, 52,000 करीब आपका ये प्रीवियस स्विंग हाई है, इसको ब्रेक करेंगे तो फिर करीब करीब इन्हीं एरियाज के पास आप जाकर देखेंगे कोई डिसाइसिव रेजिस्टेंस आता है, राइट. बट प्रेफरेंस किसको देना है, प्राइवेट बैंकिंग मेजर्स को देना है. अभी पीएसयूज को थोड़ा सा अवॉइड करना है, ठीक है. नाउ कम्स दी स्टॉक्स. तो last week, if you remember, Indus Star, Reliance, Tata Motors, these were the names that we have discussed. Indus Star, because we were seeing month-long consolidation ending, it was among the steady performer this week. Despite all the volatility, it managed to gain roughly around 4%. Reliance, we talked about for specific reason that it was trading at the lower end of its consolidation range, around 1,085. So at the first day of the week, it slipped lower initially, tested 1120 mark, and then eventually 1,020 mark, and then eventually we've seen a recovery. Lastly, Tata Motors also we've talked about, though it's extremely oversold, but there is no sign of recovery. and it did test that 530 mark on the lower side before making this rebound. This week, one should not experiment much. We all know the kind of choppiness that we are seeing in the market. If any stock, withstand this kind of challenging environment, obviously that should be your first preference. And one such name is Bharti Airtel. Just a single day of dip from its record high zone, and then very muted action followed by this green candle. So this indicates that the consolidation which we are seeing in the stock for almost several months now is likely to end. We have a pivot also in place where one can maintain as a stop, and we are set for the next leg of the target, which could be around 200 points, 250 points away from the current level. So let's say around 1950 to 2000 levels. तो भारती एयरटेल देखिए, कुछ शेयर जिन्होंने इस पूरी डिक्लाइन में नीचे के साइड पे पार्टिसिपेट ही नहीं किया, उनमें से एक नाम भारती एयरटेल का। तो जो इतनी बड़ी मार्केट की गिरावट को झेल जाए, अपने रिकॉर्ड हाई के पास बना रहे, इससे ज्यादा स्ट्रेंथ की इंडिकेशन नहीं हो सकती। एक दिन का डिप था ये, उसके बाद आप देख रहे हैं कि बिल्कुल साइडवेज मूव और फिर आज ये तेजी। तो यहाँ पे इंडिकेशन काफी स्ट्रॉन्ग है कि ये तेजी और एक्सटेंड होगी आने वाले टाइम में। एक अच्छे मूव की तैयारी यहाँ पे हो चुकी है, तो भारतीय पे आप ध्यान रख सकते हैं फॉर लॉन्ग ट्रेड्स। नेक्स्ट ऑन द लिस्ट, हुडको। सो PSE pack, after this corrective phase in the last 6 months, we are seeing certain pockets showing sign of reversal, and Hudco is one such name. As you can see through this trend line, it made multiple attempts of recovery in the past, and eventually we could manage to surpass this level after forming a base, small base around here, and not only this trend line resistance, but also the major moving averages also. So what could happen from here on? Either we can see a gradual recovery from here without any retracement, provided the market also support the move, or there could be any dip towards again within this consolidation base, and then we can see a steady recovery. But in both the cases, the downside seems capped, and upside we have noticeable upside here. देखिए, ये हुडको और इसके जैसे बहुत सारे स्टॉक जो कि पब्लिक सेक्टर में फॉल करते हैं, जिन्होंने बहुत ज्यादा प्रेशर झेला, जैसे कि यहाँ पे भी आप देख पा रहे हैं 350 से लेकर 150 के लेवल्स हुडको में देख लिए थे हमने। अब यहाँ पे रिवर्सल, शॉर्ट टर्म रिवर्सल्स दिख रहे हैं। अर्निंग सीजन की शुरुआत हो चुकी है। जिनके भी नंबर्स अच्छे आएंगे, ऑब्वियसली वहां पे रिकवरी और स्ट्रेंथन होगी। जहाँ पे नंबर्स ठीक नहीं होंगे, फिर वहां पे पनिशमेंट भी हो सकती है। बट यहाँ पे हुडको में क्या लग रहा है कि जो ये ट्रेंड लाइन रेजिस्टेंस था वो भी क्रॉस हुआ, जो मेजर मूविंग एवरेजेस थे वो भी क्रॉस हुए, जो बेस बनने के बाद जो ब्रेकआउट चाहिए था वो भी हो गया। तो सारी चीजें अलाइंड है यहाँ पे कि रिकवरी यहाँ से स्ट्रेंथन हो सकती है हुडको में आने वाले टाइम में। सो हुडको एक ऐसा नाम जो कि आप अपने लिस्ट में रख सकते हैं फॉर लॉन्ग ट्रेड्स। एंड लास्टली ऑन द लिस्ट, TVS मोटर। सो see, auto as a pack, if you see the performance, you would find very diverse trend. Means some of the auto names are down roughly around 30-40% from their record highs, some at the middle, and very select few around their record highs or very closer to that mark. One such name is TVS. Right after making a 2900 level high, the stock retraced to 2200 mark, and since then we are seeing more of time-wise correction. What is time-wise correction? When the price usually see less decline and it hovers in a tight range. So here this 2200, 2600 is a band largely in which the price is currently oscillating. And it seems like that probably we are at the end of this consolidation phase, and we can probably rejoin the positive trend in the stock in the coming weeks. So here is one stock where one can look to accumulate for outperformance in the auto basket. देखिए, ऑटो में हर साइड पे हमने देखा है कि स्टॉक आपको मिल जाएंगे जो कि काफी ज्यादा करेक्ट कर चुके हैं या फिर जो रिकॉर्ड हाई पे हैं या बीच में है. स्ट्रेंथ को बाय करना, लाइक वी ऑलवेज रिकमेंड, एंड बेसिस दैट टीवीएस इज वन सच नेम. स्टॉक अपने रिकॉर्ड हाई से रिट्रेस हुआ और एक टाइट रेंज में चला गया. तो जब रेंज में स्टॉक चला जाए, अपने हाईज के पास रहे, तो उसको हम टाइम वाइज करेक्शन बोलते हैं. तो ये टाइम करेक्शन का फेस अब लग रहा है जैसे कि जल्दी ही ओवर हो जाएगा और यहाँ पे आपको स्टॉक में तेजी नजर आएगी आने वाले टाइम में. तो इस फेस को यूटिलाइज कर सकते हैं आप लॉन्ग ट्रेड्स के लिए, राइट. सो नेट नेट निफ्टी बैंकिंग इंडेक्स 22,900 और 50,000, 22,900 and 50,000. These are the key areas which one should watch out for in the coming week. Sustenance above these levels would trigger further recovery. Otherwise, there will be further profit taking and consolidation. Right? Stock specific, Bharti Airtel, Hutco, and TVS Motor are some of these names wherein we are seeing strength or reversal. And they are less volatile also, which is very important in a market like this. Right? So, देखिए, इंडेक्स की हमने बात की तो 22,900 और 50,000 जब तक इसके ऊपर हैं तो तक ठीक रहेगा माहौल, रिकवरी और एक्सटेंड होगी. इसके नीचे रहेंगे तो रिस्क रहेगा मार्केट में दोबारा से डिप का. इन सब के बीच में जो कम वॉलेटाइल स्टॉक हैं, सेक्टर्स हैं, उनको चूज करना है जो अपने रिकॉर्ड हाइस के पास हैं, जो कि स्ट्रेंथ दिखा रहे हैं. जैसे कि भारती एयरटेल हमने बात की, टीवीएस मोटर की बात की. कुछ एक स्टॉक रिवर्सल के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से, जैसे कि हुडको, जहाँ पे रिवर्सल दिख रहा है एक अच्छे करेक्शन के बाद. तो कुछ एक ऐसी स्ट्रेटजीज के थ्रू, इंडेक्स में जैसे हमने बात की ऑप्शन स्ट्रेटजीज के थ्रू, निकेट का कोई लॉजिक नहीं है. इस तरीके के मूव्स में स्टॉप लॉसेस लगाना ना के बराबर पॉसिबल नहीं है. और यहाँ पे स्टॉक स्पेसिफिक भी लो बीटा नेम्स वो अभी प्रेफर करिए जब तक कि मार्केट में क्लैरिटी ना हो जाए. So with this, we end this presentation and then we do a quick feedback poll. So please fill in your feedbacks and then we can start with the Q&A. So आप अपना जो फीडबैक है सेशन को लेकर वो आप शेयर कर सकते हैं, और उसके बाद जो भी आपकी क्वेरीज है, जो Q&A बटन बना हुआ है, एक क्वेश्चन मार्क वाला बटन, उसको दबा के आप अपने सवाल लिखकर पूछ सकते हैं जो भी आपका सवाल है. प्लीज फिल इन योर फीडबैक एंड देन यू कैन स्टार्ट पोस्टिंग योर क्वेश्चंस. कोई भी सवाल है आप लिखकर पूछ सकते हैं. जिनका फीडबैक हो गया है, दे कैन पोस्ट देयर क्वेश्चंस. All right, so we are almost done. ठीक है, let's start with Q&A now. So first, okay, again stock specific queries, but we'll answer it otherwise, means from the sectoral point of view. So first question on metal space from Mr. Nayak, and so basically yes, metal counters in today's session was among the top performer, both in terms of like risk of global slowdown with deferment of this tariff, was the reason that it triggered this recovery. And plus, there was stock specific news related to Tata Steel also, that they are reorganizing their Netherlands operations. So these factors triggered recovery. And due to the extreme oversold position in the metal counters, we may see further rebound in the metal space in the coming week as well. But they are highly volatile to trade as of now, because whenever it comes to metal, China is the biggest market, and we all know that the tussle is still on between US and China, and it's more about sentiments as of now more than anything else. So in case if there's something new comes up over the weekend or next week as well, we might again see a drift in metal counter. So for a time being now, one should refrain from aggressive bets in metal space until we see some sign of stability on this tariff related news front. Okay, next we have Rishabh on banking space. So, Rishabh, we've shared about private banking majors among the preferred list. The earning season has just started, so obviously now the focus will be more on that part. But ICICI, HDFC, Kotak, we believe that this kind of outperformance, which we are seeing after a long period of consolidation, is likely to continue. And that's the only reason why we believe that the our markets is likely to outperform in case if there'll be further decline or choppiness in the global markets ahead also. Because as long as the banking space is holding tight, holding strong, which holds considerable weight in the index, possibility of underperformance seems unlikely, and that is what we observed in this week also. So yes, private banking majors, top names, you can continue to hold. There's a possibility that 15-20% is something that they might deliver. Okay, next we have Johan on quick commerce companies. So see, we only have two listed players in this space, and Zomato, like after this recent correction, we are seeing sign of recovery. The stock has reclaimed short-term averages also. Swiggy, on the other hand, is still struggling, and it's hardly seeing any participation. So among these two, if the view is short-term, obviously the preference should be given to Zomato. But when it comes to investment point of view and long-term aspect, then one should wait for earnings. Let's earning further unfold the situation on both quick commerce front and food delivery business, and then one can take an informed call basis their recent financial developments. Okay, then we have consumption basket. So it's stock related query, but I'll answer it from the that perspective. So basically, Sunil has this query, and so see, FMCG as a pack, we have seen decent recovery. Other than that, from the consumption basket, we are seeing stock related to gold finance from the NBFC basket, and some of the jeweler stocks, discretionary spend stocks like Jubilant Food. They all are holding strong, and we are seeing recovery or resilience. So yeah, the downside seems capped, even if, let's say, again we may see Nifty drift further lower. The domestic facing sectors means companies who earn maximum of their revenues from local markets from India. During this tough time, they are likely to outperform, right? So on the consumption side, companies which are largely India centric. Across this basket, definitely they have potential to do well in this volatile scenario. Long term, also, we believe that this is the pocket that one should keep a close eye on, though they have not performed yet in the recent quarters, but possibility of gradual recovery seems high from the current levels. Okay, so Mr. Rajesh Lal has citing the high tariff levied on China. FI should have bounced back to the Indian markets, but this is missing. See, it's not only about China and India. It's about the overall global landscape and how uh, you know lucrative is the equity investment for the investors, be it foreign or domestic. Uh, so as of now, I see this situation as a phase wherein I would be more comfortable keeping my money with myself instead of investing into the equity markets without knowing the possible uh, challenges which the markets are likely to face due to this tariff related issues. So they are sitting on the sidelines or seeing further dip, uh, you know cut means sell off in Indian markets due to this reason. They are not confident about the overall scenario panning out, and that's the reason why we are seeing this sell figure. But the way things have like changed for us positively, be it the dollar index coming to 100 levels, crude around $60 mark. These all are positive things which could eventually like pull the FI money also into the Indian markets. But more importantly, I guess they are waiting for earnings to unfold. Means once they have some certainty or sign of reversal and recovery in the earnings, you would see the change in the trend from selling to buying from the FIs also. Okay, so again, a follow-up query from uh, on metal stocks, I guess. Yeah. So see, at this point of time, I would recommend be very strict with your stop loss. Means you are very disciplined. You know how to maintain a hard stop in the system. Means the moment you buy, you place a stop order. That is means that a hard stop. Soft stop is something that you keep in mind that once the stock is going to decline, then I'll exit. In this market, even for the carryover positions, maintaining soft stop is going to be difficult to maintain because any gap up, gap down changes your view, and you might end up waiting for those levels, right? So, for a time being now, it's prudent that you should refrain from sectors or space where we are seeing high volatility and stick with the stable names. Within those sectors also which are volatile, you might find certain counters which are comparatively less volatile. So stick with those names. Okay, next we have infra space. So infra is a big basket basically, and we are seeing you know certain pockets doing well. So cement, for example, within this basket, uh, we are seeing strength in certain pockets. So stock like Ultratech, Ramco, or Dalmia, they are all holding strong. Then we are seeing recovery in other names also like Ambuja and all. So cement is one basket. Metals we have already discussed that one should refrain from any aggressive bet for a time being now. And other than that, I can't recall any particular space wherein we are seeing significantly higher strength as of now, barring cement. right? So stay, aligned to what we are seeing instead of what we want market to do, right? There's two ways to trade. One is we trade what we see, and the other way is we pray, hope, wish that market should behave in certain way to please our position. So that is not the right way. As of now, only cement is something which is where we are seeing strength. So within this basket, one should look only for those names and avoid others, right? Okay, next we have Daulat on pharma. So pharma, if you remember that this tariff related thing started with two key sectors in focus. One is IT, other is pharma. So IT, because we are exporting services. So if slowdown in US, that would hit hard the IT companies, and pharma, because we export generic to US in big number. So far, they have not announced anything yet, but what uh, has been said so far is that they are planning things. So it's very difficult to comment whether it's about generic or big pharma companies. Uh, means companies which are based out of the other places near to the United States. Generic, I am not sure that they are going to hit them hard. But again, in a market like this, wherein we are seeing logics have no places, prudent that we should avoid pharma also for a time being now for short-term trades, citing the possibility of excessive volatile swings in the near future. Okay. So yeah, with this, we have answered all the queries, and next week is a holiday shopping one. So I guess on 17th, we are going to connect for a webinar. Yes. And till then, take care. Goodbye. Thank you.